Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and I'm here getting to grips with my new Imperial Clipper. It's been a little while, I've had it for a few days now, perhaps coming on for close to a week, and I've been building up my cash reserves again, which, as you saw if you saw the previous episode, were actually quite depleted after actually purchasing this rather nice ship. But I've been doing some trade runs. I've found quite a nice one. It's a little bit better than the previous trade run because the two jumps are very close together. I can do it in a single jump and basically do each route in around about 5 minutes. You can see here now I'm just selling a full cargo load of beryllium. That gets me just over 170,000 credits. And for the other direction I sell Imperial slaves. So as I said, the other system is a very short distance away. It's not much more than 8 light years, just under 9 light years in fact, and that makes it a very short run. Now I haven't only been doing the trade run, I have spent some time upgrading my Clipper, and it does now have a huge cargo bay, 224 units of cargo space. In the slot 7 module I've got 128 cargo rack, and in the slot 6 I've got a 64 unit cargo rack. I've also upgraded the FSD drive, allowing me to get quite a significant jump range, especially if the ship is unladen. I've also got a few other minor upgrades here. I've added weapons to the ship already. I don't intend to use them just yet, but I'm slowly building up to make the craft combat ready. Once I've got enough money from some of these trade routes, I will be going out to try this ship at fighting. In just a few minutes into this episode, if you hang around, you will see that I also purchased another ship, and I tried my hand at that with combat, which is not a bad ship. It's one of the cheaper ones. I prefer the more expensive ship, the mid-sized ones for combat. One of my favourite is actually the Cobra, although the hardpoint placements on that do leave a little bit to be desired. But so far I'm very impressed with the Imperial Clipper. So here I am then, ready to dock again to trade in my Imperial slaves for another chunk of nice tasty profit. I took a little while to actually set upon this trade route, and I was very keen to start with actually to try and keep the trade route I had previously, and that trade route gave me plenty of money. It gave me enough money to buy the Imperial Clipper that I'm now using, but on that trade route I was using an ASP, and whilst the cargo hold on that was significantly smaller than what I have now, the jump range was significantly higher than what I have now. I could actually do the trade route in about 2 to 3 jumps each way, meaning that I could do the route in around about 20 minutes or so. As soon as I changed to the Imperial Clipper, that route went up to around about 45 to 50 minutes because the jump range of this ship is so small that it took around about 10 jumps to go each way. So in the end I settled on this trade route, which makes a lot less money per trip but is much faster, so overall it makes me more money. Now here I am flying back to a station where I can buy the additional ship, and that was going to be the Imperial Courier. Taking advantage of the rank requirements that are out at the moment, I've now got myself both an Imperial Clipper and an Imperial Courier. I've got close to 10 million now in the bank again, as you can see, so that should allow me to outfit this ship reasonably well to go and try my hand at a little bit of combat. Now obviously I've never used the Imperial Courier before. It's a lovely looking ship, really nice to just sit there and look at. I may get myself some skins for it a little bit later. I love the wingtips here, the nacelles on the wings. I'm very much looking forward to trying out the Imperial Eagle, which is going to be a part of the 1.4 update. Hopefully the rank requirements for that aren't too high. Hopefully it's not too expensive. Now the hardpoints on this are quite good. It certainly should outpace an Eagle, maybe a Viper, but it's of course not going to be as good as a Vulture, which so far has been my favourite combat ship, and I may well get myself another Vulture at some point in the future. Of course that depends on how well the Clipper performs in combat. But we've got myself some weapons here now. These are size 2 weapons. I'm going for gimbaled pulse lasers. They're one of my favourite weapons. I would like to try some beam lasers maybe. I was considering putting a multi-cannon on this ship, as they do chip away at hull a lot faster than lasers do, but really I'm not sure that one multi-cannon would do the job. I'd rather go for 3 pulse lasers, which would help strip away the shields that much quicker. Also attempting to put on here is a beam laser, but I don't think I've got the money yet to be able to afford the necessary power plant and power distributor modules to keep those sort of weapons running effectively. Now I do like to rely on shields rather than hull, so I'm going to go for a couple of shield boosters here. A-rated, the best ones I can actually afford and the best ones we can get. I've only gone for 1 there at the moment. I may add another one in a moment, depending on the power requirements and depending on the cost, of course. I don't suppose it should cost much more than 2 to 2.5 million to outfit this ship in a basic state, just enough to give me a little bit of edge in combat. I'm not going to go for an A-rated ship. I'm not too fussed about making something that's an all-out annihilator. I just want a little bit of fighting fun in something that's relatively cheap and won't cost me an arm and a leg if I actually lose it. Like I said, I'm going to build up the Imperial Clipper and use that as my primary fighting ship when I've actually got enough money, but I don't really want to use that just yet. I'm going to need probably 30 odd million to spare before I actually go and do that. So we've got a nice new power plant. No A-rated one available, but I'm not sure I would have been able to afford that anyway, and I've gone for the best power distributor I can actually go for. I'm going to get myself a better shield, because the default one doesn't look to be all that good, and of course I don't need all these cargo racks, so they can go straight out the airlock. I do want some shield cell banks. They help to keep the fight prolonged, they help to keep me going. They're the health potions, aren't they? Weren't that long ago shield cell banks didn't even exist, and there's still an area of the community that resent the fact that they exist, but you know, I don't mind using them. They're not too bad. I can see why they're in the game, but I guess I can also see why other people don't use them. If you've ever watched my my Iron Man challenge series, I don't actually use shield cell banks on there at all. I've got a number of very strict rules that prevent me from using anything that can give much in the way of assistance. So if you're interested, do go check that series out. It's up to about episode 5 or so now, and it also features permadeath, so keeps things a little bit exciting. Right, I'm going to go for a couple of shield cell banks here then. I think that makes sense, and we are then very close to being done. Now looking at the available power I've got there, I've got, what's this, 14.3 megawatts of power, and I'm currently only using 12.5, so I think that would allow me enough to buy another shield booster. And let's go for another A-rated one. Yeah. Okay, so still got plenty of money left. I will hop back into my Clipper at a later date and make myself a little bit more money from trading when I need to. But for now, I think we are good to go. The question now is, where are we going to go? I'm going to avoid combat zones. I think I'm going to avoid conflict zones rather. I will look for a resource extraction site. I don't know how good they actually are now. They do seem to have taken a bit of a hit lately. They're glitched, they're bugged, something's not quite right with them, because often you'll get nothing but sidewinders spawn there. You don't get some of the more powerful adversaries. But nonetheless, we will hop out there and have a look. Didn't take too long to find a resource extraction site, of course. There is one right in the system I'm already in. The next thing then is to just find a target. But is it going to be a sidewinder, or are we going to find something a little bit larger to take on? Ah, this looks like quite a good target, a federal dropship. Okay, I will go for this. I've got no problems with trying out something like this. They can hit quite hard sometimes, but that's very much dependent on whether they're even bothered to actually turn and shoot you. Sometimes they don't bother doing that, at least until you're half dead. Now that's not too bad, is it? His shields are nearly down. I've barely been shooting him, only for a few seconds there. What's that, 10, maybe 20 seconds, and his shields are already gone. Now that's quite good. With 3 of the lasers firing at him, it don't seem to do bad at all. Quite good damage. But of course the damage to the hull is a lot slower, and it looks like it's going to take me a little while to chip away at him. But you know, he's still not shooting back, and I've mentioned this before in some of my previous videos where the AI just refuses to shoot back. Absolutely no idea why that happens. Then again, on other occasions you'll turn around and you'll get annihilated almost very quickly because the ship just unloads a constant salvo against you. What are we down to? 66% on his hull, and he's chucking out cargo now. Maybe I've damaged his cargo hold module there. Right, he's actually starting to shoot back now, and he's taken away the first ring of my shield nearly. I'm going to have to keep it on him. Sometimes I'd start doing a little bit of manoeuvring here to try and get out of his gun range, but they're not doing any significant damage to my shield just yet, so I'm willing to just try and keep it in front of him and just turret with him a little bit. It's not too bad at the moment with the way this fight's going down. He's down to 50% on his hull, and before much longer I suspect the security forces are going to be like, yep, there's one now, and they will probably start joining in the fight and finish him off of that a little bit quicker. Right, I'm halfway through my shields now. I may have to think about deploying a shield cell in a moment. I don't really like using the shield cells unless I absolutely have to. One of the main reasons for that is because once you've run out, you've got to fly back to the station to get some more, so it's a good idea to try. There he goes. 75,000 credits. Not bad. As I was saying, it's quite a good idea to try and keep hold of them, but I fired one off there anyway just as he exploded. A little bit of a waste. That federal dropship wasn't the only ship I attacked out here. I did also get into a fight with a Imperial Clipper, and as you can see here, he posed a significantly bigger threat to me. Looks like he's got turrets and there's lasers coming out all over the place, and this guy really is giving me a bit of a kick in. Now the Courier does seem to hold its own, especially if it's outfitted well with quite a decent shield. At this point I don't really know how well it handles once that shield's gone, although it's looking quite close, like I was about to find out, doesn't it? Although yeah, I fired off another shield cell bank, you guessed it. But had that shield gone, I wondered what it was going to be like once this ship was down to its hull. Now some ships are quite good. You can make quite a decent spec Cobra, and pretty much the same with a Vulture. If you give it some extra hull boosts, they can stand their own even when the shield is gone, at least for a little while. No clue yet what the Courier's like there. Be interesting to let me know your experiences on that. So if anyone's fought with a hull buffed Courier, do let me know, because I'd be very interested to know if that's worth trying out. Now whilst I love combat in Elite, some of these fights are a little bit drawn out sometimes, and that's perhaps due to the fact that you can make your ship last so long now with the shield cell banks, combined with the fact that, well, medium spec lasers, medium class lasers really aren't all that powerful, and it takes quite a while to destroy some ships. Well, there's that, or maybe I just got used to the Vulture and its large hardpoints, which of course destroy things very quickly. Anyway, after a bit of time playing around with fighting, I felt it was time to get back into my Clipper again. Now, I really didn't want to go out and try trading again, and I didn't feel this ship was up to spec to try its hand at combat. So I want to try something I haven't tried at all since it's been updated, and that is mining. Aside from outfitting your ship, one of the first things you've really got to do when you want to go do some mining is a bit of prospecting. And that's not the type of prospecting where you go out and stick a limpet on an asteroid. It's the type of prospecting which you do in advance, where you try and find a suitable system to jump toward. Now, I haven't done any mining for a very long time, so really I'm clueless as to what sort of system I should be looking for. Well, correct that, I know what sort of system I should be looking for. I want one with pristine reserves, and I want a metallic ring, but I will settle for metal content rings or whatever they're called. But there doesn't seem to be any systems around my region at all, so probably in the end I will have to go and look at areas outside of power play space. And to do that is going to require a lot of jumping, which means I should really buy myself a fuel scoop. Now, I would have rather used that fuel scoop slot there. It's a 6 slot, it's a class 6 module slot. I would have rather used that for more cargo space so I can carry as much ore as possible, but 128 tons of ore is quite good considering it is 100% profit, so I'm quite willing, at least until I get out this way, to use that slot for a fuel scoop. So I'm going to go to one of these systems over here in the hopes that it contains some decent quality rocks. I can't see what's in that system, of course, from here. I'm going to have to wait until I'm there, but it shouldn't be too many jumps, hopefully. What are we looking at? It says 186 light years, or 106 light years from, oh yeah, 186 light years from HQ, which is just 106 light years from my current location. I can probably get one that's around about 90 light years if I get just a little bit closer to the edge of Imperial space here, edge of power play space rather. Now, one of the reasons I want to go outside of power play space is because it's highly likely that any systems outside of those bubbles there are unused by players, which means I've got, and NPCs actually, which means I've got a much higher chance of finding the sort of high quality rings I want to find. So I've outfitted my ship here with a very good refinery. It's got 6 buckets in it. I've outfitted it with a prospector drone. I'm not sure if I'm going to need that. My guess is probably not, but I've fitted one nonetheless. And of course I've got collector drones as well, which by all accounts make mining that bit more interesting and that bit more easier. Now I'm going to go ahead and do all these jumps. It's quite a trek. I'll see you on the other side. So this system is an occupied system. It's owned by a minor faction, as you can see in the bottom left hand corner, but I don't have any data for it. Well, I do now. I've just done an advanced discovery scan, and look at that, there's a rather nice large gas giant here with a giant ring. These are pristine reserves and they're metal rings. This was about the 3rd or 4th system I actually scanned. I didn't have to go too far to find what I was looking for. Now, I did want a metallic ring. They do actually have the better quality ore, but this is good enough. We're going to have to do a little bit of prospecting here to see what we can find. There goes the prospector drone. It should tell me the makeup of this asteroid any moment now. Maybe I need to scan it or lock onto it, do I? Let's target the thing itself. Right, indict. Yeah, a load of rubbish in there. Well, now I've used the prospector drone, I'm not sure that they're of all that use really. I can just as easily fire off the lasers here, chip off a chunk of this asteroid and see for myself what it actually contains. What do we got here? Coltan. Nope, I don't want none of that. Don't think. Nope, that's rubbish. Let's have a look at the next rock. So the sort of thing I'm looking for here is anything above the 7,000 or so credit range, which really means silver or gold. Oh, gold, look at that, nearly 30% pure there. Excellent. So let's fire off a load more chunks there. Let's chip off a load more chunks, and we're going to need to deploy some of the collector drones, but I need to open my cargo hatch in order to do that, otherwise the collector drones are not going to have anywhere to go. Let's make sure the refinery is actually getting power. So, as I said, this is the first time I've been doing mining since the new changes were introduced. And I must say that the collector drones here do seem to make things quite a little bit better. Gone are the days where I have to go back and forward trying to scoop things up. Now, I did get a little bit of a dab hand at doing that, but chasing ore that's going tumbling off into the depths of space in a rather crazy way is not something I'm going to miss. I don't expect to make tons of money doing this, but it is a change of pace for the game, and I fully expect this to be a very, very nice thing to do with the Oculus Rift. And I'm going to be heading back this way very soon with the headset and sitting here enjoying the area in the realms of virtual reality. And you know, you've really got to take a little look at these little guys out here. They do a wonderful job. They come back and forward at a mighty pace, dumping the ore straight into the cargo hatch there. Very nice to see. Busy little guys. Looking at the cargo hatch, actually, I'm wondering if that's where the buggy is going to be deployed from once we get to ability to land on planets, or is that going to be deployed from another area of the ship? Right, that is all the gold from there collected. There's probably a lot more out here. I'm going to keep up and keep looking. But for now, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.